Now, on to our ongoing series on the COVID-19 pandemic on the African continent and beyond. Today, Lindy Mtongana takes us through the steps and efforts that African governments are employing in creating awareness on the outbreak. It is a battle to win the hearts and minds of the African people, yet it comes with its own challenges that are unique to each nation.
Well, yes, indeed. And when it comes to highly infectious diseases, information regarding how to avoid exposure becomes critical. And this really begins at a personal level. For instance, I have here with me a bottle of hand sanitizer. What's important about hand sanitizer is that the alcohol level must be above 60% for it to provide you with adequate protection. Now, all you do is pour a small amount into the palm of your hand and rub between your hands very thoroughly, and of course between the fingers too. Do not forget that. And this is what gives you protection from viruses and bacteria. What I also have with me here is a face mask. Now, this covers your nose and your mouth, and it certainly protects you from others around you, but it's also very, very useful if you are feeling even just the tiniest bit unwell. It will protect others from you. So, in today's series, we take a look into ways of protecting yourself and reducing your risk of contracting COVID-19. So CGTN conducted a survey on its digital platforms to determine the state of Africa's awareness on COVID-19.
The COVID-19 pandemic has firmly sunk its teeth in Africa. While the number of cases here remains relatively low in comparison to the rest of the world, information remains an invaluable resource. So just how informed is the African audience? CGTN Africa conducted an online survey to gauge just how aware our audience is of what's at stake. So we used two of the most frequently used social media platforms on CGTN, and that is Facebook and Twitter. On both these platforms, we posted 4 questions for 24 hours. The first question was, do you know the symptoms of COVID-19 and how you can protect yourself? 70.8% said yes, they do, while 29.2% said no, they do not. The second question was, do you feel well informed about how COVID-19 is transmitted? To this, 56.9% of our viewers say yes, they do, while 43.1% say they do not have this knowledge. The third question was on the awareness of the outbreak. 84.7% of our viewers are aware that there's a pandemic, while 15.3% of our viewers say they are not aware. The last question, if there was an outbreak of a serious disease like COVID-19 in your locality, would you feel safe? 31.5% say yes, they would feel safe, while a whopping 68.5% say they would not. Allow me to delve deeper into these poll results. Dr. Samrat Shah, who is the Medical Director and Consultant Physician at Medihill Hospital, Nairobi, joins me via Skype today to analyze these results. Thank you for your time, Dr. Shah. Now, let's dive right in. On whether or not people are aware of the current COVID-19 outbreak, we have Sheikh Utako saying, what I know about COVID-19 is that the world should stand together to fight this virus. We also have Yehuala Shet Ayele from Ethiopia, who says, yes, I regularly follow WHO reports about COVID-19, and that they have some doubts as to whether some people in Africa have better resistance or immunity than others. What do you make of these comments? Are people more immune? Do some people have resistance? Is this fact or fiction?
As a younger generation, you may have a lighter symptoms or mild symptoms and you may completely get cured from it. But what about those people who are going to get exposed because of these younger generations? See, those people who are having HIV, chronic kidney diseases, people who are having age more than 65, cancers, if they get exposed from these people who are younger generation, they are definitely going to have severe form of disease. So I think younger generation should be more cautious about being sensitive about this matter, so that they don't give it to the older generations and does not cause a high mortality rate in the country. That is one thing. Second thing, having issues of resistance in African genetics, that's not true, because I just feel that it is less technical awareness available, less lack of knowledge that is causing us to have less number of cases detected. It cannot happen that COVID-19 is there across the globe and it is not affecting Africa. We are just detecting less number of cases compared to that of other parts of the world because of lack of technology to test. But it does not leave any race or sex or any kind of genetics for that matter.
Thank you. Now, considering Africa was one of the places that at least had a little time to prepare, as we were one of the last hit, is it shocking that 31.5% of our viewers say they would feel safe, while a whopping 68.5% say they would not feel safe if an outbreak happened in their localities? Are we using the small time advantage we had properly?
See, it's very true that people will feel unsafe because we don't have facilities as such if we have that pandemic coming out in the country. You see, just imagine the state like China had 60,000 cases and all of them were able to be isolated. But do we have such kind of facilities? We don't have. And that's the reason why the fear is building up among the people and people feel that they're not safe. It's actually not wrong to feel unsafe, but I think government has taken good measures to control the spread of the disease. I think things should be better in another few weeks of time.
Right. Dr. Samrat Shah there from Medihill Hospital, Nairobi. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Shah. That was very, very informative.
So according to that survey, Africans in general are still somewhat skeptical about the coronavirus, especially when it comes to public awareness and the continent's capacity to handle an outbreak. However, the majority are now tackling the battle head-on by adhering to the precautionary measures. President Cyril Ramaphosa has declared a national state of disaster in South Africa in an effort to reduce the severity of the coronavirus outbreak. Ordinary citizens have been urged to change their behavior as a matter of urgency. Before government's decision to close all learning institutions in an effort to stem the tide of infections, CGTN's Rene Delcam followed a 12-year-old student and discovered how the outbreak is affecting school kids.
And our top story this hour, a South African who tested positive for the coronavirus has been discharged from hospital.
On the streets of Bokmakiri near Cape Town, a poor, crime-ridden community is trying hard to adapt to the new reality of living with the new, unknown coronavirus. Like most families in South Africa and around the world, the threat of COVID-19 has forced the Peterson family to adjust their behavior in their daily lives. 12-year-old Angelique Peterson is an ordinary kid obsessed with social media. Now she has to deal with the fear and uncertainty surrounding the novel coronavirus.
I actually feel scared about the coronavirus because when it gets to you, it first starts as sickness, and then if you go to hospital, they haven't yet got a cure for it.
With limited resources, Angelique's close-knit family, school and community are all doing their best to try and keep the dreaded COVID-19 from their door.
I don't know what can happen. Yeah, I understand. And we know nothing about the virus just because they didn't. We hear bits and bits what the Minister of Health is saying, but what I heard over the TV is like the people is very cautious now. We need to be more extra cautious about what we're doing, our surroundings, who we're touching, who we interact with, washing our hands more than ever.
And in this household, the Petersons are determined to do their bit to slow down the spread of COVID-19 with good old-fashioned soap and water.
First, we take the soap, make your hands wet. At the moment, we're using soap and dishwasher for our hands because that's the normal thing that we do have. Sometimes we do use hand sanitizer for the household at the moment. There we go. Put your hands full of soap.
And the all-important hand-washing protocol to guard against the virus is certainly a message which is reinforced at Angelique's school.
So there are 5 steps to washing your hands properly.
As a mother of not only my daughter, but also a mother of 300 and odd learners of the school, it is a very, very scary thought that it is now on the African continent, but not only on the African continent, it is now in South Africa.
What's the most important thing to do?
Wash your hands!
So I need to know that the teachers at this school are doing their jobs to get it out into the community, but myself also at home. And so that I have to practice all of these
I have to wash my hands. I have to let the children see that I'm doing all of these things.
And as scientists race towards developing a coronavirus vaccine, this young schoolgirl at the southern tip of Africa says if they don't succeed, she hopes to continue the fight by becoming a doctor in the future.
If they don't find a cure for it, in some day later in my older days, I will study for a doctor and I'll find a cure for the coronavirus.
As the experts say, slowing down the transmission of the highly contagious coronavirus is literally in our hands.
What must we do? I later followed up with the family after the school closures. Lolita, when we spoke last time, you were very concerned about the kids, the family, contracting the virus. What are your thoughts now that the schools have shut down?
I'm so glad that I'm so relaxed now that the children is at home now, and also that they're safe and that they're not going to be exposed about the COVID virus, and also then I know because what happens is now it's getting more, the virus getting crazy now. The more and more people having cases now that we hear that people has been affected.
So one of the buzzwords in South Africa right now is social distancing. Have you started practicing that in your home?
Outside the house, we also do practice that of the children not going out, and even the children are so bored. They're just sitting at home because they wanted to visit. Since that they've got school holidays, they wanted to visit their aunts and uncles, and I prevented them to go there because of for them not to be affected or being affecting other children. Yes, we do practice also washing our hands several times a day, and yeah, that's what we continue doing.
And coming from a low-income household, how are you managing to cope financially?
The COVID-19, it's a bit scary. I'm very scared for the near future because of being unemployed. There's no income in the house, of keeping the children so long at home for holidays. It's the basic stuff that we need, bread, milk, and all the stuff, of which is, I don't know how I'm going to make it.
Thank you, and best wishes to you and your family.
Now, from postponing large-scale events to issuing travel bans, Uganda is taking wide-ranging measures to prevent cases of COVID-19 in the country.
You have to wash your hands very, very well.
Keeping safe, these young people are disinfecting themselves from COVID-19.
When we heard about coronavirus, that it was spreading at a very fast speed, we decided that we will sensitize our learners, and we had 2 campaigns of sensitization, and we were talking about coronavirus and the different countries where it was already spreading very fast and how they could avoid or prevent themselves from getting the virus.
But the threat is more than ever before. It has forced these and other schools to close their gates. On 11th March 2020, we found students here learning how to protect themselves from contracting coronavirus. 9 days later, the government took drastic action to close all schools indefinitely as a safety precaution. Now, with the coronavirus in the country, it is hoped that lessons learned here are being applied at home. Parents are now sanitizing their homes, but the country has registered 9 cases in less than a week. Authorities blame this on travelers who breached the set guidelines, saying most passengers arriving from Dubai did not self-quarantine as advised by local authorities when they arrived in Uganda.
We have a record of all the passengers who traveled from Dubai. We have the manifest that we have retrieved, and for those under quarantine, we also have their passports. And so we are requesting, please call the health desk wherever you are so that we can access you and have you checked.
The government has now stopped flights into the country and sealed all borders. They have also banned all public gatherings for a month. It's hoped that with these measures in place, they will stop the spread of the virus in the country. Hilary Isga, CGTN, Kampala.
Public sensitization has become a priority for most African countries, and people are now better informed on ways to avoid cross-infection. A good indication of the strides achieved in the battle against the virus. Back to you in studio.